Oh, Tally, did you see Dragonflight is set 7 years after we get back from Shadowlands? No, it's not. No. Okay, I've got to stop. Because you're not the first person to mention this in chat. Okay, let's go and check this out, right? We've got to go and look at this. I'm so sorry. But there's so much misinformation around here at the moment. We have to address this. Dialogue between Greymane and Shaw on Dragonflight Alpha references Timeskip. Let's get to the bottom of this right now, okay? Let's do it. With the newest Dragonflight Alpha build, a new dialogue between Master Matthias Shaw and Gen Greymane has been uncovered, although it does follow strange circumstances. Disclaimer, this dialogue was witnessed by a character that had completed the Dragon Isles introduction questline on the build before the most recent Dragon Alpha Flight build. So here's the thing. When we started the Alpha last week, there was a quest to get everything started. You know, it's like go and talk to Rathian up in like the little garden in Stormwind Keep, right? And you go up there and you talk to him, and then like a dragon rider comes along with some evoker diplomats and stuff, and then you have to go and get like some people ready for your expedition and shit like that. And then down at the docks you could come across Turalyon, and he had like some speech with Matthias Shaw where Turalyon was like, I don't trust these dragons, man. I don't trust these dragons. And that was just some speech that happened after you'd finished the intro. Now, what we're finding in this new alpha build is that people that did those intro quests are now, when they go down to the docks, they're getting some new speech, okay? Like, those quests are gone. They did them. They're getting some new speech. And that speech is this. It's important to kind of set the scene and kind of know what we're talking about here. This dialogue happens at the same point of the introduction quest line. Oh, so the quests are still there. I take it back. I'm sorry. In which Turalyon talks about being cautious around dragons. Except on this week's build, Turalyon... Let's just see. Well, this is what Turalyon said last week. I prefer hunting dragons, not befriending them. Those things will ruin this city. The only good dragon's a dead one. And then he's all like, go back to your home, filthy beast. Oh, these are guard reactions? Okay. Go back to your home, filthy beast. I can smell those things from here. Disgusting. They don't belong here. I'd love to turn those horns into a nice little trophy. And then later on in the quest line, before your expedition leaves the Dragon Isles, you can find Matthias Shaw briefing Turalyon on an increased dragon activity. Spymaster Shaw, it seems the dragons are among us once again. Yes, Lord Commander. We haven't seen this level of draconic activity since the Cataclysm. I've read the SI-7 reports on the Black Dragon Onyxia, how she infiltrated Stormwind in the guise of a noble and sowed division and chaos. She masterminded an elaborate scheme to seize control of the throne. The Dragon Queen Alexstrasza's intentions appear honorable, but we can be certain that the same is true for all of Dragonkind. It is wise to be cautious. I'll order extra security patrols. We need more than spies and guards on the city walls. Enlist the expertise of our mages. I want a foolproof method to see through these visages the dragons wear. I don't know, man. I think you'd be alright. I think you might be able to spot them. The mages are like, there's one. Oh, using my magic, I managed to find one. There it is. There he is. Okay. Thank you for your help, mage. Don't know what we'd do without you. Yeah, very powerful magic at work there, for sure. So that's what he said last week. Now, when you do the quest, at the same stage of the quest, there's actually some different speech. And this is what happens. Shaw, King Greymane, I thought you should know. Rathian asked if there's been any word from Anduin. He asked me the same question. Though their friendship has been strained, I know the king considers Rathian an ally. Several years have passed since Azeroth's heroes returned from the realms of death. Several years have passed since Azeroth's heroes returned from the realms of death. And that is very much the important line there. In that time, I've followed up on countless leads. Reports that the king was sighted here or there, none of them have been proven true. I do not think that we will find Anduin until he wishes to be found. That may take some time. Turalyon is popular with the nobles, and he's a natural leader to our soldiers, but the people of Stormwind miss their king. The best thing that any of us can do is give Anduin the time he needs, and to be here for whatever he calls home. So, here's the question. Does this represent a time skip in Dragonflight? Have we indeed... So, lots of people are saying 7 years, and that's what the comment in the chat did that started this. Not 7, several, which basically just means more than 2. Non-specific number, more than 2. Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. You know, like several. It's a handful, isn't it? A handful of years. It is interesting. It's very interesting. But let's be real here. This is alpha, and you should always take stuff like this on alpha with a very, very heavy pinch of salt. Not like a little pinch of salt, not like, ooh, you're just very gently seasoning the yolk of a fried egg. No. You gotta take this shit with like a full-on salt bay. Handful of salt, like this. That's what you gotta do. So one thing I've seen people say is like, well, time works differently in the Shadowlands, right? So maybe those several years passed while we're in the Shadowlands. That's not the case, because he says, several years have passed since Azeroth's heroes returned from the realms of death. Now, that means that it's no comment, there's no reflection at all in that sentence on how time passes in the Shadowlands. It's not referring to that. He's talking about when we came back. The time has passed since we came back. So it's got nothing to do with how time may or may not pass in the Shadowlands at all. So it's since we got back and the skybox closed. Well, there's many different interpretations here, okay? You could say that technically we got back from the realms of death the second we opened up our portals to Stormwind or Orgrimmar. I don't think that's what it is. But if you wanted to, you could make a pretty strong case that that's when we got back. Shadowlands started, and we all jumped into the big portal at Icecrown, and we were lost, we were gone. And then we got to Oribos. We fought our way to Oribos at the very beginning in the intro scenario. And then we got back. We opened portals and people could kind of come and go freely. And then we had a 2-year adventure, right? So it could be that. I don't think it is. But I think it's important to mention that it could be explained like that. God, can people just shut the fuck up about time passes differently in the Shadowlands? That was an offhand comment in response to a question about characters who died before the events of Shadowlands. Oh yeah, 100%. Yes. Like, that's very clear. Like, when Ian said the whole thing, time is different in the Shadowlands, he was in an interview, people were asking him very specific questions about timelines and characters, and he was like, you know what, time goes differently in the Shadowlands, which is literally the equivalent of a wizard did it. You know, when Ian said time works differently in the Shadowlands, it wasn't meant to mean anything. It was clearly covering his ass to explain, you know, preemptively explain any kind of contradictions in the timeline. Anyone who comes up and goes, oh, excuse me, it said that Jakar had only been dead for like a year when she got there, but we all know that this person had been dead for that long, and he said he's been there for this long, so I don't understand. It's like, time works differently in Shadowlands. Shut the fuck up. Like, that's what that comment was, right? It was just like, you know, a wizard did it. Don't be silly. Shut up. Yeah, it's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Don't ask too many questions, okay? Chill out. Just go with it. It's a video game. But that is not, importantly, what this is referring to. Like, this is not a comment on the way time travels in the Shadowlands at all. And I think it's important to understand that. Several years have passed since Azeroth's heroes returned from the realms of death. In that time, I followed up in countless leads. So I think I don't think he's talking about when we opened portals to Stormwind and Orgrimmar, and technically we came back then, because he's saying in that time I followed up on countless leads. He's talking about the end of Shadowlands there. He is talking about the end of Shadowlands. He's talking about, at the very earliest, the day that Anduin went missing. And so, we've got a question. A, will this dialogue make it to the final game? Uncertain. I would go as far as to say doubtful. Another option, is this dialogue meant for later on in the expansion cycle? Because we've already seen a completely different conversation at this point in the quest line. So here's my current theory on this. My current theory is that there are purposely 2 conversations that happen at this point in the quests, and like for the first year that you do these quests, you'll be getting the first conversation with Turalyon, and after that, yeah, in 10.2 or something, the conversation might change to this, which I think would be really cool. It could easily be 10.1 or 10.2 dialogue, you know? And if that dialogue is still set to appear in those quests, but at a later date, it would make sense to try them out the week after you've tried out, you know. That seems a bit of a reach, but it's perfectly possible. Even if that were true, several years would not pass between patches in Dragonflight, so it wouldn't make more sense. Yeah, I guess so. So we've always worked on this this time frame with WoW. We've got this thing in World of Warcraft where we say that each expansion is like a year in the life of World of Warcraft, which I've always fucking hated. I've always thought that was incredibly dumb. This idea that Legion took a year. It didn't. It took 2 years. Why not just have it pass in real time? Why not just say it was 2 years? Because that's how long we were in there for, right? This thing of, oh, Mrs. Pandaria was a year. It was 2 years. I was there. I remember it. It's always slightly annoyed me that we say that officially a World of Warcraft expansion is like a year's worth of in-world time. But the characters don't age enough to make sense for it to be several years. Well, yeah, because we say that it's only 1 year. But if we said that expansions just happened in real time, then the characters would age. Like, the reason they don't age is because, yeah, officially, only a year passes in each expansion. Like, they match the way the characters age at the moment matches the established format of 1 year per expansion. Yeah, but if they just said the format was 2 years per expansion, the characters would still age appropriately because they'd make them. I think we all know Morazond is to blame for all of this. Yeah. Is the 1 year expansion official from Blizzard? At one point, yes. At one point, it was like the official timeline. Yeah, was that 1 year was passing for each expansion. On Azeroth, they celebrate every holiday twice a year. How magical. Well, exactly, Joe the Redcoat. Exactly. That's one of the reasons it annoys me so much. It's like, if one in-game, if one Azeroth year passes for each expansion, does that mean there are 2 Winter Veils per year in the Warcraft universe? Just have it go in real time. It makes so much more sense, right? So here's the thing. We don't know what this means because we don't know if it's in the game yet. But it's fun to talk about. Yeah, so if there have been several years that have passed since Shadowlands, I mean, I guess what's been happening in those several years? Will they play on that? Is this some throwaway line? I think it's far more likely. The most likely thing is that this line is not going to end up in the game, I think. Because I just don't see the point. Unless they're going to play on that and tell us stuff that has happened in the meantime, which so far there's none of that in the game at all. I just don't see... I don't know. Here's my theory. What if Dragonflight is meant to be the default leveling expansion from 11.0 onwards, and this is what new players get? Oh shit, man, that sounds perfect, yeah. But not every expansion is just 2 years, though. No, well, I still think it should be played out in real time, right? So, you know, this character was introduced in 2010, and in 2022, it's 12 years after that character was introduced. You know, just play it in real time, rather than this very strict, like, one expansion is 1 year thing, which I've always found a bit silly. To be fair, we're starting halfway through, though, so maybe they discuss it earlier. Yeah, maybe there's some discussion of it in, like, the pre-patch stuff. Yeah, for sure, for sure. There's obviously some tension in the Alliance leadership. I don't know why... No, I'm not sure I agree. Everyone seems pretty chilled out and agreed that they don't like the dragons. There doesn't seem to be any tension in the leadership. In the Turalyon conversation, it's like, hate those dragons, and Shaw's like, yeah, I know, let's keep an eye on them. And Turalyon's like, yeah, but an extra close eye, right? Gotta make sure we can see through those visage forms. Make sure your troops are incredibly well trained, so they don't get tricked by those visage forms, right? Okay? Don't get tricked by those visage forms. Make sure they all do the course. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there could be but several years seems like a bit of a useless skip to have, doesn't it? Like, what's the point of several years? For me, if you're going to have a time skip, you want like a time skip of about 50 years. You want enough time for stuff to have fundamentally changed, in my opinion. And this is what I always said when all the conversation around time skips was happening throughout Shadowlands. I was like, if you're going to have a time skip, it has to be a big one. There's no point just having a few years. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they need Turalyon to die of old age. They just was like, it's just a few years, right? Lots of role players had a heart attack here and that. A lot of role players have a heart attack about fucking everything, though. Let's be real. Look, I love the roleplay community, okay? But I know, man. They take some shit a bit too serious, if you ask me. Like, I love playing on an RP server. I think it's wonderful. And, like, literally 99% of role players are fucking incredible and make the game better for everyone, you know? Like, I really respect them, and I'm really glad that they do the thing, because it makes the game so much better for me as well as them, right? Definitely. Like, residually, my game is better because they do their RP. And, you know, 99% of them are fucking incredible. 1% of them are, like, the worst fucking people in the game. The fucking worst. Isn't Turalyon immortal now with the light's blessing? Oh shit, you're right. You're right. I have a hissy fit, not a heart attack. Look, 99% of RPers are literally some of the best people in the game, and I think that's a pretty good ratio, okay? You know? 99% awesome to 1% like the absolute worst. I think it's a pretty good ratio. It's a better ratio than a lot of the other groups in the game. That's a much better ratio than PvPers have. Okay? It ain't just 1% of PvPers that are fucking toxic. Put it that way. Like, so I think the RPers have got a pretty good ratio going on there. All right? Yeah, I think this is really interesting. If it is real, and I think it's interesting to think about how it could be if it were real. If it is real, and there genuinely is a time skip of a few years from, well, now, the end of Shadowlands to the beginning of Dragonflight. If there is a time skip of a few years, why? I'd be very interested to see why they have chosen that decision and what they do with it, because it won't be meaningless, you'd imagine. If they've chosen to do that, if they've chosen to have a skip of a few years, then there must be some fundamental change that has happened in the meantime. I don't think it's going to be a new home for the Night Elves, because we want to see that, you know? We're going to see that happen. That's going to be a storyline. I think it's partly just to emphasize how long Anduin's been gone. Yeah, maybe that. It's literally just so that Anduin has been gone a long time and they can bring him back. Yeah, worst case scenario, it's pretty much that, isn't it? They've literally just gone, oh, it's been a few years. Can't believe Anduin's been gone so long. Oh, he's back. It's like, all the players are like, he's only been gone for one patch. No. Several years. And it's like, no, he went in the end of like, he's been gone for like a couple of months. Why has he got a big beard now? Several years, my friend. Several years. The other thing you've got to remember is that currently there is no equivalent to this line on Horde side. So if there is a time skip of several years, right, the Horde players don't fucking know it. Like, currently, let's not forget, if there is a time skip of several years, Horde players have fucking no idea. They come home one day and they're like, I swear I just put that fruit bowl out yesterday. Why is it all rotted to shit? It's like, hi wife, hi family. Oh, holy shit. Maybe it's to take into account how long everyone has taken designing their Drakthir character in the character create stream, right? That's probably it. I think that's it. It's just an in-joke about how long everyone takes on the character create. Several years have passed since you created your since you entered the character create screen for your Drakthir. Yeah, and Sylvanas have a big beard as well. Yeah. What do you mean remarried? You were gone for several years. But that's my favourite thing about this situation, is that currently, you know, if there really is a time skip, only Alliance know about it. I think that's beautiful. Keep it like that, please. I don't think there is going to be a time skip. My theory is that this will just be taken out. I think it's a clunky line that I think people are going to take out. I don't think it's meaningful. I think it's like some placeholder dialogue. I think it will be gone. That's my stance. I won't mind if it's real. You know, let's see. It'll be really fun. I'm completely up for it. But my stance is it's probably not going to make it into the game. But if it does, please keep it so that only the Alliance have a reference to it, and the Horde have no fucking idea. I think that would be so funny. Why is that? Were all Drakthea characters Alliance? No. 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 I feel like this is something similar to how Varian was missing for so many years. Well, Varian literally was missing for many in-game real-life years, right? Oh, you mean just in kind of like the beats of the story? Yeah, I get that. According to that line, though, time has passed since we came back. We have lived years in Azeroth, not in the Shadowlands. Yes, I know that. So I know that, like, in-game Horde characters would know it. What I mean is, Horde players wouldn't fucking know it. You know? I know all of the in-game characters would obviously know it because they've been living there, you know, for several years since they got back. Yeah, I know that. But I just love the idea of, like, you know, having lore discussions, and Alliance players are like, and then of course there's that time skip of several years, and Horde players being like, yeah, the time skip, what do you think happened in that time skip, Horde buddy? Or the famous time skip? Too much to say. Really, I mean, anything could happen, right? You know, like so. So yeah, no. Obviously, I'm not talking about in-game characters not knowing. I'm talking about literal Horde players just not getting any reference to the fact there's been a time skip, whereas Alliance players do. Do you think this could hint towards an Alliance civil war? See, that's my main worry. When people started talking about, like, the possibility of a time skip in Shadowlands just because of Ian's time works differently in the Shadowlands line, we got a lot of fucking headcanon going on. There was a lot of fucking headcanon around that maybe there'll be a time skip thing. And what you have done there, my dear commentator, and I'm not shitting on you for it, it's perfectly natural, I just think it's something to be wary of. What you've done there is you've taken something that kind of was like, you know, a theory crafted thing, and like you're kind of bending the stuff to make it fit a little bit there. But you know, yeah, why not? Who knows? Also, that would make the Forsaken retaking their home. Well, good point. That would mean that the Forsaken had been in Lordaeron for years. For years and years and years. So I just don't see it happening. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think this is going to make it to the game. But here's the thing. Even if this dialogue, and this is the dangerous thing about Alpha and the way people like go over every little detail in Alpha. Even if this line doesn't make it to the game, people are going to act like it did. You know how this community works, right? Even if this line never makes it to the game, in the head of, like, half the community, there's been a 7-year time skip, you know? And there will be vicious fucking arguments online and on Twitter about, you know, you're forgetting the time skip, you fucking idiot, you scum, you piece of fucking shit, you're a terrible father. Oh my god, I worry about your fucking children. You're such a fucking idiot, you forgot about the time skip. You scum! I feel so sorry for your fucking kids. Holy shit. For those of you who don't understand Taliesin lore, that's what someone said to me online because they disagreed with me about the jailer. Someone was literally like, fuck you, Taliesin. I worry about the safety of your kids. That motherfucker had been giving us shit for months, and we'd never done anything. And when that comment came through, Evitel was like, please, can I just quote tweet this tweet? Please. And I was like, we shouldn't really do that because, you know, we've got a much bigger following than them. And she was like, please. And I was like, okay, one little quote tweet. And she was like, she literally made this noise. That person doesn't bother us anymore. Hope you had a decent whiskey after hearing that. Yeah, no, I mean, it was a weird week, that one, gotta say. But you know that's definitely going to happen, right? You know that's definitely going to happen. Oh, no. Our entire online presence is me holding Evitel back. If Evitel had her way, she'd be ripping heads off and spitting down necks, like, the whole time. Yeah, 100%. No, I'm holding her. Don't forget the time we got banned from Twitter, right? Don't forget the time we got a 24-hour ban from Twitter because Evitel told someone to suck her dick. We got banned for sexual harassment because Evitel tweeted at someone who was trying to cause shit, "Hello, Evitel here, suck my dick." We got banned for 24 hours. Totally worth it. Oh yeah, totally worth it. I'd have taken double that. Right. What were we doing? Where were we? Yeah, okay, so you know, right? You know that even if this doesn't make it into the game, and I'm pretty sure it won't make it to the end to the game. If I had to take, well, I wouldn't say I'm pretty sure. No, that's too confident. If I had to take a bet right now as to whether this made it to the game at launch, which is how it would be a time skip, I would have to say no. I'd have to say I would bet that this wouldn't make it to the game. But even if it didn't make it to the game, I think people would act like it did. I think it's there now. I think it's in people's heads. I think from now on, even if this doesn't make it to the game, people will talk about Dragonflight as if it's 7 years. I know it says several, but I've already seen so many people call it 7, which is hilarious. Like, in people's heads now, Dragonflight is 7 years after Shadowlands, and there are going to be vicious arguments about that online. Absolute fucking vicious. You know it. I love this community, but I really hate this community. It's not 7, no, but like, so I've seen so many people refer to it as 7 years because it says several, right? And they read that as 7. Like, that's literally it. It says several, and so like kind of telephone, it's turned into 7. 7 years after Shadowlands ended. Yeah, so basically the time between 9.2 and or season 4. Okay, the time between season 4 and the pre-patch of Dragonflight is 7 years. That's in the head now. That's where it is. That was 7 years, fam. Season 4 was 7 years. 17 years. No, I know. Like, but people read the word several and they think it means 7 for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah, in the minds of a sizable proportion of the community now, it's been 7 years. Simple as that. It doesn't matter if this dialogue gets taken out tomorrow. The fact that loads of people have seen it, the fact that loads of people are talking about it online, in the heads of the community, it's done. It's law. So they might as well think of something interesting to do with it, frankly. How old are our characters then? Well, I don't know about yours, but that would make mine 21. I'm talking about my dragon.